Welcome, and thank you for joining us for Inside Cottonwood today. I'm your host, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood, and it's fall time in the City of Cottonwood and all of northern Arizona. In fact, I just heard from someone the other day that the leaves are starting to change here and there throughout northern Arizona, so it's always fun to get out, especially this time of the year, take a look at what northern Arizona presents in the colors and the colorscapes throughout our environment in northern Arizona. It's great. I've lived here since 1967, and I went to NAU for 4 years from 1973 to 1977, and it was just glorious. So that's what I remember most of all, was just getting out and get away from the classroom. So I won't tell you about my grades. But I just wanted to thank Hez Allen for being here today. We're going to be talking about Walkin' on Main. That's upcoming in about a month. And Ruth Ellen Elinski. Ruth Ellen, thank you for joining us today. It's my pleasure to have you on the show today. So we're going to be discussing a little bit more. And Hez, you're in charge of, you're the Recreation Services Supervisor over Aquatics, Youth, and the Special Events Programming, as well as multiple things that go on at the Recreation Center. And Ruth Ann, you're Northern Arizona Director of Local First. So we'll get into that a little bit more also in the second segment. I'm going to kind of start off things here about talking about Walkin' on Main. And Walkin' on Main is kind of one of our signature series events that we have in Cottonwood, and it's always fun to go into Walkin' on Main, because then I know fall's actually here, and it's really a beautiful time period. So this special event takes place this year on Saturday, November 11th, which actually is Veterans Day as well.
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
We planned it that way.
Yes, I know you did. So I thought it was great. So I figured I'd mention that.
Okay.
But the program is from 11 o'clock a.m. till 5 o'clock p.m. And that's usually, I think that time slot's always been that way since we started this program. How many years have we been doing the program now?
Oh, geez. I knew you were going to do that.
I know. I figured
2008?
Okay, I think you're right.
Yeah.
So it's been almost coming up on 10 years
That's
next
crazy.
year.
Yeah.
I know. Doesn't seem possible.
No.
The program that we celebrate is actually Historic 89A a lot. And so we do the Historic 89A. People ask us, why do you have a car show? Well, Historic 89A. And so we actually kind of push the car show in there. We have music, so we have live music, we have art shows, and we have the car show, wine tasting throughout the day in Old Town Cottonwood. If you've never been to Old Town Cottonwood, you're in for a real treat. And especially if you're seeing this from throughout our area and you've never been into Old Town, come on down, because there are charming galleries, eclectic shops, the eateries, and some of the best restaurants in Northern Arizona are found in Old Town. And you can also go to our site, which is azwomcottonwood.com, which actually it'll give you all of the information on Walkin' on Main and what to check out for the event program.
Yep.
And so, pardon me, Hez, where did the concept for Walkin' on Main originate from?
You know, way back when, 2008, there was a small group of us that came together, and there was this burgeoning of Old Town, and everybody having this investment and wanting to rebuild Old Town, wanting to revitalize. It was that same concept that had happened to Route 66 and those Main Street towns across the nation. And now what we're seeing is these communities reinvesting into their downtown areas and bringing these buildings back into history and a culture. And that's the vitality of the city of Cottonwood. And in actuality, that's kind of our mission statement as a city. And so with that investment in the Old Town, the thought was, well, why don't we come up with a program that celebrates the culture and the history and who we are? In the fall time, a beautiful time to come up to this area and give people a reason from Phoenix to come on up and help us to stop being just the gas stop between Sedona and Jerome. So in that same time period, we had the wine industry coming up. So it was just a natural fit, and it did. And it was really just lucky to be a part of it.
Very timely.
It was.
Very timely.
Yeah.
It was really neat. And so whose idea was this and why?
You know, I would definitely say kudos go out to Terrence Pratt, because he kind of approached the department and said, hey, I have this idea, you know, and then from there the committee took it and ran with it, and then it keeps growing, and this year we have a new infusion of great people that are going to get involved with the program, and amazing things are going to continue to happen.
That's good. That's good stuff. What was our main goal in providing such a program to the public, though? I mean, I know that we started talking about more centralized programming for Cottonwood about that time frame. And so why was this why was this coming about, though? I mean, I know you're talking about the wine industry, because that was huge,
right?
And it really started to burgeon, and it was one of those things that really started kicking off a lot of different programs. But what else can you mention?
I think definitely also Historic 89A, like you mentioned, 89A was originally an Indian trade route. And prior to I-17, it was the only way to get from southern Arizona to northern Arizona. So that road, a large part of it goes through the Verde Valley and kind of winds through. And so that was also one of the catalysts for the program, just to celebrate that.
Well, since we're talking about main streets, talk a little bit about main streets in America, because I mean, Old Town is just really an incredible main street. And I mean, I grew up in certain areas and throughout my life, and looking at the main streets, this is one of the best that I've ever seen. It really is.
Totally.
So tell us a little bit about why main streets are so important in the States.
I think, and Ellen, you can probably jump in on this as well. Ruth, Ellen, sorry.
That's okay.
When you look at the history and the culture of an area, a lot of it has to do with the architecture and how that town has evolved over time, and who have invested in that community. And you'll see that through the architecture and the actual bricks that are laid, and the people who laid those bricks, and the stories that are told, and the two bridges on the opposite side of stones that were pulled out of the river by volunteers, and the civic center that was built, and the famous architect that was involved in building that, and down to the bootlegging history. I mean, when you come into Old Town, it is the vein of the community. It's the main vein of the community. And if we don't have a strong investment there, what does the rest of the community look like? And so you've seen that through the Route 66 towns, is that section would die. Kingman and Williams and all those places up in that area, they had a tough time digging out of that.
They did.
Yeah.
That's very true. As we talk about art, and one of the things about art in the Verde Valley, and especially in Cottonwood area, it's just really kind of a unique thing to look at all of it. And especially if you go into the papers or you go online, you see all the art that's being accomplished here in Cottonwood and the Verde Valley area. Tell us a little bit about the relevance towards art in Cottonwood, and especially according to Movoto. And tell us a little bit about what happened in 2015.
We were very lucky to be a part of a study that was done, and Movoto is kind of like a real estate organization or national organization, and they kind of pick and choose, and they do studies on vibrant and great communities that are up and coming, and possible places you'd want to move to. And so we were named on that list on the top 10 of most exciting, neat places to live in Arizona. And a large part of that had to do with our art culture area and the things that we celebrate in this area. So it's huge to promote that, because it brings people to the area. And then also, we live in such a beautiful place. I used to joke around when I first moved here. I'd tell my family back in Ohio, you can literally stick your phone out the window and snap a picture. That's how beautiful it is here.
It is.
So Jerome, a lot of artists moved into that area, and Old Town was the biggest little city back in its heyday.
Right.
And you were involved with the Jerome Art Walk, and so good culture there.
Yeah.
Yep. People are looking for unique experiences.
They are.
And communities like Old Town Cottonwood are really that draw. And if you think about how transportation has really changed the way people travel, I mean, a lot of those Old Town districts have been bypassed because of new roads and highways being built in there, and people are just bypassing those really unique communities. And so now there's kind of been this I think a change in people's behavior to really find those unique communities that have, they've been forgotten for a while. Now they're like just being rebuilt, and people are looking for those kinds of unique towns, arts and culture districts that they can have a truly unique experience.
And I think when you couple arts and cultural as well as wine together, that's one of the things that people even in the metro areas of Phoenix are wanting to come up and see. And they're interested. Once they get up here, they come back, which is really neat. And that's the reason why Movoto basically identified Cottonwood as ranked number 6 out of 10 communities in the state of Arizona, was because we offer so much here. There's so much going on here. So it's really, it's rather interesting to see that you know, walking on Main just fits in all of that. We're going to take a break right now and getting prepared for our second segment here with Ruth Ellen. And so please come back with us. I'm your host today, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride! This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride!
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore, and frustration a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy and giving up impossible. I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought and unconventional methods common. I'm a teacher. I make more.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. And with us, we're very pleased as well as proud to have Ruth Elinski with us today. So, Ruth Ellen, I'm just going to start off here. I'm going to identify that you're the Northern Arizona Director for Local First Arizona. You work as a builder of stronger regional networking for independent businesses, and which also you support communities in promoting existing assets, encouraging business and retention, and expansion strategies. The local entrepreneurship is a major thing, and other sustainable economic development practices. You also were the former executive director of Coconino Coalition of Children and Youth, which was a nonprofit organization. You also you actually were the founder of a leather goods manufacturing and retail sales business in 2002, which that's an accomplishment, and I'm proud to say that, because that having people involved in private enterprise and private business is really incredible. And so I wanted to just let you know about that as well. And then also you were the co-founder of First Saturday Jerome Art Walk, has basically identified, and you served as treasurer of the Chamber of Commerce. You also have a degree in environmental science and management from Indiana University, so Midwestern. So,
I'm a Midwesterner.
Yes, I am as well, so congratulations there.
We're in the club.
There you go. You were awarded in 2012, you were recognized as First Things First Champion for Children in 2015. You're a fellow of Arizona's Center for Civic Leadership's Flynn Brown Leadership Academy, which is pretty incredible. You live in Old Town, Cottonwood, with your husband, Tim Elinski, who is our mayor.
True.
And you have two daughters. And
thank you.
How old are they?
They are 1.5 and 3.5.
1.5 and 3.5. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Really, welcome to parenthood.
Really fun.
Yeah,
They're
it
so
is.
much fun.
That's
Hez
great.
knows he has a 3-year-old. Is he 3 yet?
2.5.
2.5.
He's knocking on the door.
Yep.
So you guys are bringing up this next generation.
That's right.
So I have 7, so it's like, oh my gosh. So I remember those days, especially that, as the split time frames and everything. But I want to talk a little bit on the first in this first segment, that as the Arizona director of our Local First Arizona, tell us about what Local First Arizona is, the mission and goals of Arizona First.
So Local First Arizona really works to strengthen local economies. So we do that in a lot of different ways, but we have a business coalition side, so 3,000 independent businesses that are all headquartered here in Arizona are part of our coalition of independent businesses. And then we also have a foundation side, so we work on rural economic development. We have a business accelerator program. And we really just work to strengthen local economies by building relationships, encouraging entrepreneurship and small business ownership, because that keeps more money circulating locally. It creates more jobs. We know that. Economists have been saying that for some time. So
it's very true.
So that is our work. Yes.
That's great. And it's a fantastic program. So now, is it fair to say that you know the pulse of the Verde Valley? I mean, I think you probably do. You've been here for a while.
I've been here about 12 years.
Yeah. And so with your background in business as well as with Local First Arizona and everything, how do you feel that Walkin on Main aligns with all of this? And I think the mission and the scope of what we look at, especially essentially for programming in Arizona and northern Arizona.
Sure. Well, events like Walkin on Main are critical to local economy work. Certainly they are a draw for people across the state to come and gather in a common place. It's great for the community because it brings out people who actually live there and share time together, share the community assets that we have here. These are also great draws for the business community because we know that people who come to events like that then who may not have otherwise come might return and bring friends and family back to the community. So these events they're all really important to thriving communities and healthy communities. It also, builds businesses up so that they're more prepared for tourism. When our local communities are spending money in our local businesses, then they're better prepared. They have more on the shelf. They have higher qualified employees, that kind of thing. So
very true. It's
all linked to economic development and strong local economies.
Yes. And it is, and it's essential, especially in our environment here in Arizona. We kind of lag sometimes with the construction, in Arizona. But so trying to get on the forefront of leading business and industry in that context of things, bringing people into the community, it's an incredible asset. Now, you had a lot to do with the conceptions we talked about, the development of Walkin on Main, Ruth Ellen, from the very beginning stages, as you really felt a program of this caliber would be central to both theme, brand, and mission statement of Cottonwood. Now, you explained quite a bit already to our viewers. I think that it's really essential as we look at trying to bring people into Cottonwood as well as the Verde Valley as a whole. We're going to get people that will return, and it is one of those things that we've seen. And we also kind of see a lot of people that come up for TVR, which we just recently saw as well, and that was a nice focused target to hit, and it was a good thing to see as well. So now, as I read earlier in the show, you were a co-founder of the First Saturday Jerome Art Walk, and as you served as treasurer of the Chamber of Commerce, did being involved in both of these give you a better understanding of providing program and services for community and social involvement?
I mean, any kind of organization like those two, gives you a sense of the importance of those kinds of things and a sense of your own community. I mean, I think that Jerome kind of was in this struggling with identity if they were a ghost town or something else. And I think working with Donna Chesler and a whole group of business owners and artists in Jerome at that time, really giving it this kind of connection to the art community and calling it out that it really is an art destination in Arizona. What's great about Walkin on Main, as far as being a celebration of 89A, is it is a way to also connect these communities in the Verde Valley. We're connecting them all together, celebrating just the history of all of those communities and all the great assets that they have. So I think it's really bringing a sense of all the different assets that each community has and a way to bring people together around that.
And I think that's very true. I know in what we're doing here, we see a lot of spillover, if you will, of a lot of different people coming into the Verde Valley, especially in Cottonwood area. They'll meander up into the Clarkdale, Jerome area. A lot of them even will go over to Prescott and, of course, into Sedona, so and vice versa. So it's kind of nice to see now that we're a thriving economy in that context of things. So it's really great. Now, you were awarded the Flagstaff Chamber of Commerce Athena Young Professional Award for 2012 and recognized as the First Things First champion for children in 2015. Man, that's an awful lot within the last, 8 years. These are amazing accomplishments. How do you feel about that? I mean, that's neat. That's great stuff.
Yeah, it is. It's a humbling kind of thing.
Yes.
I mean, I don't do the work that I do to be recognized like that. I do this work because I care about the community, and I'm passionate about rural communities. I grew up in a very rural area of southern Indiana, and I'm now raising my kids in a very rural community, and I'm proud of that. And I think rural communities have so much to offer, and really are unique experiences in themselves. And it's just a great place to be. I'm really proud to live here and represent Cottonwood. I was working in Flagstaff for some time, and it's nice now to have this connection to the place that I live.
Right.
And I'm happy to bring whatever skills that I've gained along the way right here where my kids are growing up and where my friends and family are. So. Well,
your background shows your passion, so I mean, all of this does. So it's really kind of fun to see that, and especially in people that we have within the context of Cottonwood area and their passions to actually, get out and bring people into our community, as well as have the passion for social, interaction, things of that nature. So we're going to take another break here for just one moment, and then we'll be back with Hezekiah Allen as well, talking a little bit more involving the actual Walkin' on Main program. Your host today, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. Thank you for joining us today.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
There's a jump.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. And again, we're talking about Walkin' on Main and how it affects the Verde Valley, Cottonwood, and really a lot of Northern Arizona area, and all of our communities combined together, working together for bringing these things to our community. It's fun to have passionate people working in the background as well as in the front, and getting this uploaded together. So it's kind of neat. Now we're going to talk to Hez here. Now, how does first thing, you were talking about local first.
Yeah.
How does that help us? Talk about it a little bit as to what it involves.
It's a beautiful thing because it's very symbiotic. The relationship with Local First and what they're trying to do, and analogous to that is Walkin' on Main and what we're trying to do. And then you play in the wine factor that, and it all makes sense. I was speaking to a winemaker here locally a while ago, and they said wine shows the soil and the region so precisely. He said, in the same area at this elevation versus this elevation, you get a totally completely different grape. And so to have that and have Local First involved in their brand and what they bring to the table is amazing. And now they are a partner of Walkin' on Main.
That's great.
And so they're going to go out and start promoting through their channels and their networks. And then we're going to assist and do what we can. And then the Old Town Association is coming to the table. So it's a great local program put on by locals.
There you go.
Yeah.
Local First is really, I think that's that's one of the things is getting them involved is going to really help out an awful lot.
Yes.
And sharing the values of this program. Now tell us a little bit about Edward Jones too, because I know that Matthias Sandoval, he's always involved in these things, so it's really a lot of fun to see that. Is he our sponsor this year again?
He is. He's also another partner for the program.
Okay.
And so it's the local offices of Edward Jones who come together to sponsor this program. Their official but unofficial kind of tagline is "From Wall Street to Main Street."
Right. Yeah,
and so it
really
makes
good.
total sense to have them involved with Walkin on Main. And they have a strong pulse and an investment in the community as well. So.
That's great.
Yeah.
So we're proud to have them as well. So now, can you tell us a little bit about the wine tasting at Walkin on Main? Give us a little bit of upfront there.
So basically, it's put on by the Verde Valley Wine Consortium, and for a small fee, you can go down there, try wines from different wineries throughout basically the Verde Valley, as I think they kind of regionalize it. And the proceeds from that go back to support the Verde Valley Wine Consortium and what their mission is, which is to be ambassadors for the wine industry in the area.
That's great.
Yeah.
So they're a big
And it's
help.
great wine.
Yes,
I mean,
it is.
Wonderful.
It's great
So they-
wine.
Yeah.
And it's really a neat thing to see when you go down, so it's great to have it. Now, we talked about the classic cars. Tell us a little bit more about the classic car show. You know, what is the program? You know, talk about Mingus Union and what they do as well.
So Mingus Union High School has a great, now they call it an auto car club, but it used to be called the Hot Rod Club. And then they changed the name so they can kind of branch out and do more than just hot rods.
They try to confuse us from year to year. Is what
Exactly,
They do.
exactly. And so they put the show on. I think it's $5 per car to register. That money goes back to the Hot Rod Club or the Auto Club. They also get local dealers. And what's really nice is Andrew, with that program, has developed this relationship with all the dealerships and auto shops. And his placement rate from high school and kind of post-education programs right directly to work force in this local area is great. And he does that by building these programs and bringing these different partners to the table, which he's doing an excellent job with that.
He is doing an excellent job. Now tell us a little bit more. I mean, do they do anything else at Walkin on Main?
As far as the car show?
No, I know they used to do an art program.
Oh,
and
yes.
so
Yep.
they still do that.
So opposite side of the house, the art club.
There you go.
Yeah, they come together and they'll have a display of artists in that first tent of artwork that they've done, which some of their work they do is really talented.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and then they'll do kind of a piece, live art, chalk art on the street that's usually there a couple of days after the program, which is kind of neat. And it's kind of, we give them a theme each year.
Right.
And I think the theme this year, because we're partners with Local First, is local.
Oh, there you go.
So they're going to
That'll be
tie off
fun.
that, come up with some designs, and branch out all over the streets. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, and even after Walkin on Main's done, take a walk down through because you can see all the art, so, you know, here and there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun.
What's also nice about that is you give these young, energetic individuals who are artists in their own mind, and they're excellent
they are.
artists.
Yeah.
They are excellent artists. And you give them a very simple concept like local, and then just watch what they come up with.
Yeah, they really broad scope the whole thing.
Exactly.
Tell us about the music. Great entertainment as always. Let us know about that.
So we've you know, other shows that we do, Farmers Market, TVR, other things. It's more of that rock kind of genre. This is blues and jazz and slow down and
It's my music.
yeah. And it's you know, the jazz music is just such a
It
great
pairs well
thing.
with the wine.
It
does.
really
you know?
does.
Yeah.
And it gives it a nice
You
tone.
get people dancing and they just have a blast.
fun.
They're milling through the crowd and they come right out and they'll start dancing. And so I mean, again, it's a great time. It's a good time for everybody.
Yep.
What about parking?
Parking down in Old Town, so basically you'll have behind City Hall and across from kind of Bing's Burgers area, and then the parking lots on either side of Main Street, First Street, Cactus Street, those will be open, as well as the elementary school, and then Riverfront Park. And typically we'll have a shuttle running too, so if you're parking
Good.
in those other areas, we'll bring a shuttle to you.
Yeah, it's awesome to have the shuttle service, so it's a big help. Anything else we can expect from Walkin on Main this year?
I don't know, what do you
Fun.
think?
Fun,
Lots
lots
of
of
fun.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is too. So again, from 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and that'll be Saturday. That'll be November 11th.
Yep.
And so go over our sponsors once again.
Local First, Edward Jones, the Old Town Association, Verde Valley Rentals or VERV, Nice John's, and then AGM, and then Taylor Waste.
That's great.
Yep.
It's going to be a good time. So I should say, once you have the opportunity on Saturday, because again, Saturday, November 11th is going to be a great time period. So come on down to Old Town. It's fun.
Yeah.
You'll have a blast. So I just wanted to thank you for joining us for Inside Cottonwood today. Thank you, Ruth Allen, for your time. Thanks for coming down and enjoying the fun that we have here too. Hez, as always, thank you very much for your talent and your time. And thank you all once again for joining us for Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager. Have a great day and a great month.